Coach, your first tournament is this weekend.
Yes.
Initially, what are your feelings about starting play?
Yeah, we're just excited. Our kids have been competing against themselves for the past 3 weeks, and we're just looking forward to traveling down south, playing in some good weather, and finally getting on some dirt. So, but no, the team as a whole, we're just excited to get out there and we're ready to compete.
On Friday, your first games are against Towson and East Carolina. What are you expecting out of their rosters?
Yes, so for Towson, we open up with them, and they're going to be a very good team out of the CAA conference. They ended up finishing third in their conference last year behind James Madison and Hofstra. Offensively, they do a great job, and they're going to hit for power, and they're also going to steal bases. So we've got to be prepared for both. I believe they stole 59 bases last year, which is a lot of bases. So most importantly, they do have their number one pitcher coming back as well. And they're a team that we're somewhat familiar with because we played them a couple years ago down at UNC's tournament, and just hoping for a better outcome this time around. Next, we have East Carolina, who is a team out of the American Conference, which from an RPI standpoint, they're one of the best conferences in the country, and their conference sent 4 teams to regionals last year, which just tells you the caliber of play that they're used to playing at. At this point, you look at the numbers simply from a preparation standpoint, and the one thing I know is that their record is not going to be indicative of the team that I expect to show up come Friday, and I know that they're well coached and they're going to be a good team. And they do have their number one and number two pitcher coming back this year, which is always a good thing. Offensively, they've got a lot of kids that are coming back, and they seem to be an offense that just simply finds ways to score runs. So, but on Friday, we're opening up with 2 very good teams, and it should be a good day.
On Saturday, you continue the tournament with a game against Youngstown State.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Youngstown State?
Right. First, it's kind of crazy that we've never played Youngstown State, considering they're an Ohio school. They're a team out of the Horizon League, which we're very familiar with the Horizon League teams, having played several of them in the past couple of years. They finished third in their conference last year behind UIC and Oakland, and we're expecting a good team to show up on Saturday. From a pitching standpoint, they have number 1 and number 2 coming back. So again, that's always a good thing for any team. They seem to defend the ball well. Offensively, I believe they've got their top 3 hitters coming back this year. So we'll just, as a pitching staff, need to make sure that we're mindful of those 3. But expecting another good game on Saturday out of Youngstown.
On Sunday, you're wrapping up the tournament with ECU again, but then also playing the host team
Yes.
in USC Upstate. What do you expect USC Upstate to bring, especially because they're the host team?
Right. Well, they're going to have a lot of fans in the stand, but it's always exciting when you get to play the host team because the crowd is usually pretty big, and I think just for our kids, more so for our freshmen, to get used to that type of environment, it's always a good thing. And USC Upstate is a very good team. They have traditionally been a powerhouse in their former conference, which was the ASUN. Last year, they finished third in their conference. And again, a lot of good teams in the ASUN, and they've traditionally been one of the best. I believe they've made the move to the Big South Conference this year, but nonetheless, they're going to be a great team. They're going to be fiery. We've never played USC Upstate, but I'm somewhat familiar with their style of play, and I think they're going to come out and they're going to be ready to go. And offensively, they lost 2 key hitters from last year's team, but this year they're returning 2 of their hitters who had a significant impact for them offensively, and they also have their number 1 and their number 2 coming back. It looks, according to the roster, they've got a few new faces with some freshmen, and they also have some transfer student athletes. But the good thing about that is we'll be able to scout them before we play them on Sunday, so we can have a better idea of USC Upstate. But nonetheless, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a battle.
Is it any different for you preparing for teams that you don't play as often?
No, not necessarily. It doesn't affect our preparation at all, simply because at the end of the day, especially early on and going into these tournaments, we're worried about ourselves and taking care of our team and making sure that we're playing at our best. So it's kind of it's exciting because we never get a chance to really play against different teams, but I think it'll be good for our athletes to be unfamiliar, and so that we can really put the focus on, hey, we've got to make sure that we show up and play Miami ball. And not that I'm wanting to think long term, but when you think about the teams that we're playing at in UNLV, it's going to be similar. We're going to be playing teams that we're not familiar with. But early on, first season out, as I've mentioned before, it's about us. It's about who shows up wearing that Miami uniform that day. So again, we're just excited. We're looking forward to getting out and starting the season, and should be a good weekend.
What are you hoping to learn about Miami's team this weekend?
Yeah, I think that's, first off, I think it's a great question. And we've been training, the kids have been training really hard the past 3 weeks. So right now it's really just saying, okay, what are we all about? You can only tell so much come practice time. And I truly do feel that our kids are ready to go out there and compete. But now it's showtime, and it's about to get real, as we've been telling them. But no, it's a matter of, okay, what are we good at? What are some things that we're going to have to work on to improve on going forward? But at the end of the day, it's about us just continuing to get better, and get better not only individually but collectively as a group. And so we're just, like I've been saying, we're just excited to go out and compete.
Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Haley, your first games of the season are this weekend as you travel to USC Upstate. What is the feeling of the team right now?
I think we're really anxious but really excited to finally get out in the field and to transition everything we've practiced in the fall and this past J term to our games. And so we're just finally really ready to get out there.
What are your team's expectations for this weekend?
Well, we know with this upcoming weekend we have a lot of great competition, and so with that we just want to focus on playing our game, playing to the best of our capability, and to just play for each other and figure out what Miami softball is.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.